So in June 2023, I led the Canadian Youth Assembly on Digital Rights and Safety. And this was a project undertaken at the Centre for Media, Technology and Democracy to help bring youth voices into conversations about technological policy in Canada. And we decided to do this as a way to better understand how we can regulate technological platforms and digital technologies with the best interests of youth and children in mind. So we launched this project using what's called a citizens' assembly method. So a citizens' assembly is a well-established process that's used in Canada, in the States, and around the world to help governments understand key policy issues. And for our youth assembly, we brought together 38 youth participants, all aged 18, from across Canada to Winnipeg, Manitoba, for a week-long event to discuss digital policy, digital safety, technological rights. And so we did this by trying to engage as diverse a group of people as we possibly could, all young people, of course, to get their thoughts on the ways that digital technologies affect them. And so we had the goal to determine how young people understand digital rights and what policymakers can do to transform their lived experiences and concerns and considerations into policies that support their well-being online. So to do this, we had a citizens' assembly question, an overarching idea that was guiding our project. And that was how and in what ways can platforms better prioritize youth users' digital rights? And we framed our entire week-long process around this question by hearing from experts and from the youth themselves on how we can actually transform what they're experiencing in practice to meaningful policy on the federal level in Canada. So we started by recruiting all of our youth participants from across Canada, and we did so to try to get as many perspectives as possible. So we had 18 female participants, 18 male participants, and 3 gender nonconforming participants. 27 of our participants identified with white ethnicity, 10 racialized, and 2 as First Nations or Indigenous community members. And we also made sure to include folks from both urban and rural jurisdictions in Canada, because obviously your experience with digital technologies, including internet access and bandwidth, vary completely depending on whether you live in an urban area, a suburban area, or a rural area. And so from there, we were able to get a very diverse group of folks to come participate in our assembly. We had 9 from out west, 4 from the Prairie region, 18 from Central Canada, 5 from Atlantic Canada, and 3 from Northern Canada in the territories, just to ensure that we were getting as much diversity as possible in these conversations and the policy recommendations that the youth themselves made at the end of the 5-day assembly that we held. So just to wrap up, because I know there are other questions coming, together the assembly participants spent time learning about the impacts of digital technologies from experts. They examined international governance frameworks in place right now to actually put digital policy in place. And then from that level playing field, they were able to input their own experiences and the knowledge that they learned from these experts into a series of policy recommendations that they wrote themselves at the end of the week, and then presented to a series of government officials at a recommendation ceremony. And I'm happy to talk about some of those recommendations, I think, in maybe another question. But it was such a transformative experience, I think, for the participants, also for the organizers, of course, but most importantly for our government officials who were able to hear firsthand from youth in Canada about how to better regulate technological platforms.